Yes, hi. What is your name, miss?
Renee Natividad Ubam,
What school do you teach at?
Diamond Ranch High School.
What grades do you teach?
I teach 9th through 12th grade.
All right. And how many years have you been teaching?
This is my 10th year.
10th year. Wow. And what subject do you teach?
Social science.
All right. Now, what's going to take place is I'm going to ask you some questions. I want you to answer them truthfully and honestly, please. Could you do that for me?
Yes.
Okay. Now, do you feel that at times teachers are placed in a box based upon the pressures of the district and or the administrators that they work for?
I'm not sure what box you're referring to, but if it's in regards to like a systematic set of ways that we have to teach or specific things that we have to teach, and the state puts us in a box that we have to teach, the standards, and then the district would come up with the best way that they feel that we could reach our students. They tell the administrators, and administrators make sure that that happens through professional development days and so on. So there are certain things that we're asked to do to make sure that we do, whether it's whiteboard configuration, having the date, the essential question, the agenda, the essay on the board, or bell to bell instruction. In terms of we need to do a certain amount of essays each quarter, and so on. Like, if that's the box that everybody's required to do, then yes, we put in the box.
Do you feel that at times that you're limited in reference to how you can teach students in reference to that box?
um I'm not sure limited would be the right word. um I think that sometimes, hey, we need to make sure that we have thinking maps. And so let's make sure that we're organizing thinking maps. Or we're in Avid school now, so let's make sure we're all using notebooks and Cornell notes. And I think that there are a lot of other great strategies and systems and worksheets, even, out there of ways that kids can learn, but it might not be what's popular at the time, even though, like, I found in my experience, it works. That we're having to do X amount of um, whatever's on the agenda for the year.
Okay. Now, do you feel that it is good that you're embedded in the social issues in the community that you teach in? And if so, if it's important to you, why is it important to you?
Um, I'm not sure. I don't want to be embedded in the social issues. I want to be aware of the social issues and know what's going on in the community. I do believe that it's very important to know, um, small scale, where what our students are going home to every night. Just as teachers or even administrators, we have our own lives once we go home. Like, so do our students, and so I think it is really important that we understand the troubles that they're facing, the difficulties that they do have and that they experience, and that we see them 1 hour a day in our classrooms and try to reach them, but we also have to be mindful of what, again, they're going through, especially in a subject like I teach criminal justice. I have students that have themselves been victims of crimes or whose families have been victims of crimes, and on the other side of that, students whose family members are part of gangs in the community. So it is important for me to understand what's happening in the community, what social issues are important, even when it comes to immigration and legal status and non legal status, um, so that I can reach my students, so that I don't um, offend anybody, and so that they understand that I care about them, um, and so that they don't close themselves off to learning in my classroom because they feel that I don't understand them.
Okay. Now, do you feel that at times, because administrators and people who publish books are out of the classroom, they're not in touch with what the daily stressors of teachers. They're not in touch of what teachers go through on a daily basis. And yet they create the standards that you're teaching. Do you think there's do you think there's a discourse in reference to your administrators having the back of the teachers in reference to how you teach, or do you think they more in self have their backs away from the teachers, meaning that they don't have your back?
I feel like that's a loaded question. I think that um, it's I don't want to say biased question, but it's kind of trying to get me to say something. I can just be honest. Like I said, it would be in the beginning. Um, I do feel once you're out of the classroom that you kind of forget how it is day to day to day. But that's why I think it's important at the same time, while some other teachers may not agree, that administrators are in the classrooms doing, just pop ins, even if it's not an evaluation, just to see what's going on. I also think that it helps hold teachers accountable on a day to day basis. Um, I can't speak for everybody. I know from what I know, I feel supported by administrative staff. Um, if I have a problem, I think that I could go to my direct supervisor or administrator and discuss it with them. So, but I do know that there's other teachers that don't feel supported. Whether that be funds not coming their way. Most of the time, it has to do with parents, especially at our school site. Parents, it's kind of known that parents dictate um, a lot of what happens. So again, that's a loaded question, but I personally feel supported in my classroom and what I'm doing.
Okay. Um, Now, thinking back to your student teaching days,
Mm.
do you feel that you should have you should have been taught the history of teaching as well as all the things that you learned to become a teacher? Do you feel that the evolution of teaching is something that should have been embedded in your program to receive your credential?
Well, that was 11 years ago, 10 or 11 years ago. But thinking back to then, I think it worked itself in regards to student teaching. Like a lot of the veterans or even my master teacher at the time, kind of said that there's this pendulum that happens with education. Like on one side, you have kind of like holistic teaching and group work, and it's about the big picture versus the pendulum swings to. And this is when I actually entered, when it's about testing and the small facts, and they should know, and students should fit in a box. And so now that we're kind of going towards common core, I'm I'm going to the pendulum that I didn't learn about or the side of the pendulum that I actually didn't learn about in student teaching. Because when I was doing student teaching, everything was about state and standardized testing and district benchmarks and testing multiple choice. And now we're going more to writing and the integration of multiple subjects into your one curriculum. So I'm not sure if that answered the question.
No, you did. And my last question is, what what advice would you give future teachers?
Advice I would give future teachers: know that this is something that you want to do 100%. I know that probably the reason that you're becoming a teacher is that you had a good experience in whatever level grade you're going to teach at, or you had that inspirational teacher. But in the same sense, like you probably also had maybe, unfortunately, like a bad teacher. Um, and you don't want to be that. And if you're going to allow yourself to get bogged down or get stressed out or not do it for the right reasons, then like don't do it. That's the advice I would say is, stop the credential program right now and don't do it because you really are, I know it's really, what is that cliche, but you really are shaping the minds of the future and you really are having an impact on students and hopefully, it's a positive impact. So that's the advice I would say is like make sure that you 100% want to do it because, again, like it's going to affect your life and others. And yeah, open your heart to students. I guess that's the
Alright.
advice I would give.
Well, thank you so much for
Oh,
your
wait, and get your master's degree because on the pay scale, it's a huge, significant difference. And to get paid the same amount of money that somebody, or a different amount of money for the same job that somebody else is doing, um, and especially from the left side, that's really awful. So get your master's degree, go Laverne, I'm alumni, and yeah, thanks.
Alright. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Bye.